JS-SEZ was first mooted at the 16th Joint Ministerial Committee on Iskandar in July 2023. My counterpart, Minister Desmond from Singapore, along with Yang Berhormat Chief Minister of Johor, luckily threshed out a common and mutual compelling vision that the time is ready for us to tap the synergy between the high growth proposition of Johor and the investment magnet that is Singapore. So it's a different model, and this was a cross-border exercise. In other words, it was a partnership where both countries would be equally invested. And I hope that will be a game changer going forward for many decades. So ladies and gentlemen, 6 months later, after much deliberation and engagement, both countries landed on an MOU, which was signed in January 2024. We gave ourselves a 2-year window to finalize the deal, and we managed to do it in half the time. That is a credit to the hard work, often unseen by many, by the civil servants leading these negotiations. It wasn't the ministers leading, it was the civil servants. Please give a round of applause. However, it was in that interim period we realized how much this captured the imagination of the markets. Whenever we had meetings with, for example, a sovereign wealth fund or equity research analysts from a global bank, they would always inquire about the progress of JS-SEZ. There was an underlying recognition that this could be a game changer. But there is also a caveat. The true test of JS-SEZ was never getting a signed deal. There was some level of skepticism because MOUs or even agreement with all its highlight, if not followed through properly, 4 or 5 years later remains just an agreement. Rather, what is most important at this stage, it had to demonstrate that as an outcome of this deal, there would be a serious and tangible uptick in economic activity, where investors would crowd in and SMEs would relocate for expansion. And I'm glad. I don't think that the continuous interest to invest in Johor and shared by Berhormat Rafizi, I don't think was exclusively JS-SEZ. There was a lot of economic prospect that Johor has and offers. But I think JS-SEZ becomes a focal advertising campaign to position Johor not just for regional investments but global investments. And the best is yet to come. Ladies and gentlemen, going forward, we will also be launching the JS-SEZ blueprint at the end of the year. This will be a comprehensive roadmap outlining the long-term vision, strategic aspirations, and investment opportunities. Think of it as a one-stop document for potential investors, policymakers, and the general public. And on that note, I'd like to end on the long-term part. I think many of you might be thinking the elephant in the room, which is to question the future prospects of JS-SEZ if there is a change. If it will continue to be a priority in the coming years, and if activity will continue to rise. The last thing we need is for all the momentum, attention, and excitement to go to waste. What I will say is this. Policy continuity should never depend on the sitting administration of the day. I know the concern of the Johor State government is that what will happen if we change minister. And in fact, that has been questioned many, many times, even before there was PKR election. Policy, good policy, should continue. In my experience coming into the administration, and I hope this will continue with whoever set of ministers that we'll have in the future, I don't think any administration or minister comes in to wreak havoc. Our job is to see what works, what could have been done better, and principally to build upon the foundation that has been built before us. There has to be tweaking every now and then, but usually the good policy of a country continues, and it will not depend on the whims and desires of individual politicians. It could be true that my time is temporary, but I hope a lot of people who have been working and putting a lot of work into JS-SEZ, and we also have an agreement to honor. And I'm sure whatever happens, JS-SEZ is too big, too important, and too valuable for the country to subject it to changes and different personalities. And on that note, I think I'm assured that JS-SEZ in many ways is a promise to the future. And people, successive people, will come in and will work on this one. And we have to deliver this promise that young Malaysians and Singaporeans can coalesce for the betterment of each other's life. And I think everyone will true to that. And hopefully 10, 15 years down the line, as we envision in the beginning, that we will have the greater part of Johor to rival Klang Valley as a key economic driver of this country. And it is also the first time both countries have committed to such a promise. And as long as we are mindful of our duty as stewards for the coming generations, I believe it won't be the last time either. So with that, thank you very much for making the time to attend to this dialogue.